This audio presentation of Unknown Powers by Brown Landone is brought to you by audioenlightenment.com. Copyright 2017. All rights reserved. The mighty powers of light which eye has never seen, tones never heard by human ear, electricity never felt by the body, the cosmic rays which have power to pass through 20 feet of solid lead, now conceived to have vibrations similar to thought. When you know the nature of any power, the result of its use are never mysterious to you. Yet miracles are wrought, and there are mysteries. It is always the unknown powers which are mysterious to you. It is such powers which work what you call miracles. Yet a miracle is nothing but the inevitable result of the ordinary operation of some power which is unknown to you at the time the miracle is wrought. So long as the power is unknown to you, its operation is mysterious, and you call the result a miracle. But as soon as you know its nature, you no longer call the result a miracle, because the power that produces it is no longer mysterious. Miracles can be wrought by you when you learn to use the powers which are now unknown to you. There are still many unknown powers of sound and of mind, light, of love, electricity, of life, of cosmic rays, and of spirit, and each of them works miracles. There are many other powers still unknown to you, and many powers not yet known to any mind on earth. But for clarity of the revelation I wish to make to you now, let us confine our study to the unknown powers of 8 energies: sound and mind, light and love, electricity and light, cosmic rays and spirit. These 8 are enough to illustrate the highest laws of unknown power. Let us start first with a mere hint of some of the unknown powers of sound and mind. You already know sound. Know it has power to vibrate through air and metals and minerals and produce a beautiful overtone of sound in the wooden sounding board of a piano. Sound is but one vibratory power. There are also unknown powers of electricity, light, X-rays, and cosmic rays, and each of their unknown powers work what we call miracles. There are also unknown powers of the soul, different from mind, and so much mightier than mind that the thoughts we hold seem insignificant. I digress a moment to explain our use of terms, so that you will more clearly understand. Certainly our term soul is not satisfactory to any thinker or scientist, but it is the best word we can use to designate the inner you, which includes all powers of mind and love, life, and spirit. And the terms mind and spirit are no more satisfactory than some of the terms physicists use, such as light waves, ether, generator, each of which is ridiculous as a defining term. We cannot use the word mind to designate what we mean by soul, because mind is only one of the powers of the soul. Love also cannot be used as a synonym for soul, for it also is but one of the soul's powers. So until we coin a more defining word, we are forced to use the term soul for the total inner you. In comparing radiant energies with powers of mind or spirit, I do not even hint that they are similar or identical. I make comparisons only to give you basis of recognizing the relative increasing powers of mind, love, life, and spirit. You know of physical powers, such as the power exerted by a bullet in its flight, or of a blow of a hammer, or of a baseball thrown from a pitcher's hand. These powers are due to masses of matter in motion, and their forward movement or speed is very slow. Sound is different. It is due to tiny particles of matter in motion. Compared to other vibratory powers, it is also very slow in its forward movement. At ordinary temperature, sound moves forward only 1,130 feet a second. Light, moreover, speeds forwards tens of thousands of miles a second. Movement of masses of matter or of teeny particles of matter are examples of the slowest moving powers. Light, which moves 186 miles a second, is an example of the more speedy radiant energies. In writing of rate vibrations in this booklet, I refer either to speed forward or to frequency of the vibration. Just as there are different rates of motion of physical power and radiant energies, so also, in the realm of soul, there are slow and rapidly moving powers. Mind is the slowest of all the soul powers. That is, the other powers of the soul are much more rapid, of higher frequency, and vastly more powerful than mind. In discussing unknown powers, I compare mind with sound, but please understand that I do not mean that they are identical. I compare them only because sound is the slowest vibration of matter, and mind is the slowest vibration of the soul. They are alike only in that each is the slowest in its respective realm. The power of sound heard by the keenest human ear vibrates from 2 to perhaps 26,000 times a second, but the unknown powers of sound range from 30,000 to more than 500,000 vibrations a second. All these higher sounds are unknown to your ear, although some of them are known to many animals. For instance, the endings of a hearing nerve of the bat located under its wings are so much more highly developed than the nerves of the human ear that the bat, guided by its hearing, can fly about in the darkness without bumping into anything in its path. If you string 100 fine wires in a completely dark room, here and there and everywhere in all directions, and then if you seal a bat's eyelids with wax, that bat will still be able to fly about for hours in the pitch darkness of the room without bumping into even one wire. How does the bat do that? In its flight in the dark, the bat sings a little song of its own, and although the tones of the bat's song are so high that they are silent to your ear, yet they make the wires in the room vibrate sympathetically. Then the nerve endings of hearing on the inside of the bat's wings catch these echoes sound from the wire. Thus the bat knows the direction from which the echoes come, and hence he knows where the wires are and can avoid them. I repeat that all of the results which we call miracles and all the process which we call mysteries are but the ordinary operation of the powers which are still unknown to us. As the bat's hearing is twice as keen as that of the human ear, so the hearing of the ant is 10 times keener than that of the bat. Some ants can hear sounds which vibrate 500,000 times a second. As there are unknown powers of sound which are more powerful than the power of sound which you do know, so also there are powers of the soul, vastly more powerful than the thought powers of mind which you now know, powers which you can learn to know and to use. The unknown powers of energy are more rapid than known powers. That is, increase of speed or frequency of vibration increases power. In some lines, we call such an increase a pickup or a step-up. Light is a power higher than sound, just as love is a soul power higher than mind. In illustrating increase of power, I use light as an example of the second increase of radiant energies, just as love is the second increase of soul power. There are unknown powers of each. There are unknown powers of light. Red is the slowest light vibration perceived by the human eye, and violet is the most rapid. But there are unknown powers of all light slower than red, which you cannot see. We call them infrared rays. We cannot take pictures in the dark with these rays. Then, on the other hand, there is the vast field of ultraviolet light, vibrations higher than the violet. And beyond the ultraviolet, there is another great field of light power, mostly unknown at present. We know that the ultraviolet can remedy many of our diseases and make plants grow 3 or 4 times as rapidly as they ordinarily grow, and that other radiant rays can change some male animals to female and female to male. And yet man's mind has not yet dreamed of the miracles which may be wrought by the light rays beyond the ultraviolet. How little we know. In the realm of light, we see only from the reds to the violets, from 400 to 700 trillion vibrations a second. Then beyond the violet are unseen colors of which we now know very little, and we do not yet know what miracle-working powers they possess. As the speed of light is greater than that of sound, so love is the soul power of higher frequency than that of mind, and life energy has a still higher frequency, and spirit is infinitely higher than any of the others. Love is of itself a power of the soul, just as mind is a soul power, but love is different from mind and mightier than mind. Each power produces after its own kind. That is why thinking always produces thought. Since mind is so slow, it cannot produce the much higher powers which we call love or life. That is why mind can produce only thoughts about love, or thoughts of life, or thoughts of spirit. The law is absolute. Mind produces mind. Love produces love. Life produces life. The powers of your loves and emotions, which you know, can make you happy one moment and depressed the next, joyous today and in the dumps tomorrow. And most of the known power of emotion can change even the chemical condition of every tissue of your body, or make you feel well or sick, exhausted, or vibrantly vital. The unknown powers of love are, however, as much greater than its known power, as the unknown powers of light are greater than its known power. Just as love draws individuals together in harmony, so love can create peace among the cells of your body. A score of diseases can be healed by love alone. For often all that is needed in case of some ills of the body is harmonious cooperation of the cells. And as love can harmonize individuals to live together happily in concord, so also love can harmonize your soul with the higher spiritual powers, whether they are near to you or thousands of miles away. It is rather ridiculous to recognize that light rays can travel through billions of miles of space and then stupidly think that love is limited to radiating out only a few feet from you. Love has power to reach through millions of miles of space, even from star to star. Miracles are wrought by such unknown powers of love, and even the mere subconscious desire of love can work miracles. The third step in power can be illustrated by electricity in the realm of radiant energy, and by life in the realm of soul power. Again I repeat that it is the increase or pickup or step up of vibrations which gives increased power. Such an increase can change a detrimental power to a beneficial power, even change a power of death to one of life. Mysterious miracles are wrought by such unknown powers of electricity. When a transformer picks up the 110-volt current used in your home and increases it, it burns out your light bulbs, and if the current passes through your body, it twists and agonizingly tortures and kills your body. Now comes the miracles. Higher than this vibration which causes death, there is a great field of still higher unknown electric powers. When you greatly pick the deadly voltage which destroys your body, it will not harm your body at all. In fact, if it is passed through your body, it acts as a beneficent power, perhaps a rejuvenating power. What we know of electricity is but a vague prophecy of what we shall know. The miracles we may work in the body by use of its unknown powers we do not yet know. Perhaps we shall someday use its power completely to transform and rejuvenate the body of man. Now note the similarity. As with the pickup of electric vibration, so with the increased vibration rate of life or sex power. At a lower rate, it exhausts and destroys, just as a lower electric current does, but at a higher rate, life rejuvenates and transforms. And this is true not only of life or sex vibration, but of the rate of activity of the body. The greater the rate of activity, the nearer the approach to rejuvenation. In the past, we have often mistakenly thought that the life power of the soul is the same as the soul's mind power. But life is different from mind. It is even more rapid than that of love. The ancients recognized it as the unifying power of God, the power which unites atoms, cells, and all other energies, multiplying their power and pushing them outward into manifestation. And since these unknown powers are of differing speeds and frequencies of vibration, one cannot be substituted for another. Remember the great law. Each thing or power produces after its own kind. Only life produces life. A thought of life produces nothing but a thought of life. The miracles we shall bring forth when we learn to use this higher life power of the soul, a power of the soul higher than mind and higher than love, have not yet been dreamed of by the conscience of man. Then also in the realm of radiant energies there are the X-ray powers and the powers of radium emanations, so far transcending the power of sound, electricity, and light that no comparison can be made. Light cannot penetrate substances which X-rays and radium radiations pass through with ease. These higher rays are so powerful that according to their speed or their frequencies of vibration, they can be deadly or rejuvenatingly transforming. And beyond all known powers of X-rays and radium radiation, there are vast unknown power realms of other radiant energies, and highest of all are the cosmic rays. These ultra-high radiant energies we can use to illustrate the fourth and highest increase of unknown energies, just as spirit is the highest power of the soul. We know that spirit differs from mind. Perhaps its frequency is 1,000 times more rapid. It also differs from love and from life power. Spirit is the highest power of God and of the soul, and of all great miracles are wrought, not by might, not by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. I do not hesitate to use the word miracle, for scientific as well as spiritual miracles are wrought today. As I have already told you, the song of a quartz crystal can sterilize milk and stimulate male ants to intense activity without increase of fatigue. These are miracles of the silent songs of a crystal stone. And there are radiant energies which can make plants grow with extraordinary rapidity to astounding size, and multiply cell growth, so that the increase is comparable to the increase of which we are told in the story of the loaves and fishes. We have new knowledge of cosmic rays from the investigation of Dr. Compton of the University of Chicago and Dr. Millikan of the Chicago Institute of Technology. And while researchers were being carried out delving into the unknown power of cosmic rays, other scientists have carried on work attempting to discover the vibratory frequencies of the rays of powers of the soul. Valuable research work has been done in this line by a Japanese scientist, Shiro Tashiro, who formerly conducted his experimental work at the University of Chicago. Other important work in the same line has been done by Professor Henri at the Sorbonne in Paris. He thinks that he has mathematically determined the vibratory frequency of some of the soul rays, as exactly as Millikan has determined the vibratory frequency of cosmic rays. It is reported that recently the findings of Dr. Henri were retested at the Rush Medical College of the University of Chicago, but no information of this is allowed to reach the public. One astonishing discovery of similarity seems to have been revealed by these lines of research. The vibratory frequency of cosmic rays seems to parallel the vibratory frequency of certain powers of the soul when the spirit of the soul is lifted up by a great desire. Dr. Millikan believes that cosmic rays may be the energy out of which atoms are made, and that cosmic emanations are the birth cries of creation. Other scientists believe that all things are created out of the desiring urge of cosmic rays. This may parallel our ideal that out of the urge of spiritual desire all things are made. This brings us to the great desiring power of spirit. Just as every atom of the universe seems to be made of cosmic rays because of an urgent desire to radiate itself, so it seems that the creation of all man's wants is brought into existence by his urgent desire to manifest his soul. Before continuing, let us summarize. I have emphasized two groups of four great realms of power. First, the unknown power of sound, to which the power of mind may be compared because of its slowness. Second, the unknown ultraviolet realm of light and the unknown power of love. Third, the unknown powers of electricity and the unknown powers of life, both destructive when slowed down and both transforming when increased in activity. And fourth, the great realm of radium, emanation, and cosmic rays on the other hand, and the spiritual power of the soul on the other, including the soul's power of desire, which turns all thoughts of mind and longings of love and impulses of life, energies of spirit, into actuality. With newer understanding of these, we are beginning to glimpse the greater spiritual truth which Jesus taught. It is the use of three of these powers, love, life, and spirit, each greater than thought, which makes it possible for man to work miracles of actuality. Spirit is the highest power of the soul, and desire is the supreme activating power of spirit. No matter how much your mind thinks of what you want, or how greatly you love what you desire, or how intensely your life power wants to create it, the longed-for result will remain formless and void, until the desire of your soul becomes so strong that it moves the center of heaven within you to turn all powers of your soul into activity to produce actuality. Each power of the soul is activated by the desire of spirit and produces only after its own kind. Mind idealizes what you want, gives you the vision you desire. It can guide you in all your efforts towards what you want. Love harmonizes your attitude with that of God and with other souls. It also harmonizes chemical with chemical, cell with cell, even in the body, and gives added power by decreasing the friction of effort, whether between atoms or human beings or stars. Life impels union of all your soul's power to obtain or attain what you want. It also impels cells of your body to unite with one another to create new and youthful tissues and structures. Spirit inspires. It is the infinitely increasing energy. Its desire moves your soul limitlessly to increase its activity to produce what you want in actuality. In the realm of physics, there are four great groups of vibrating energies. 1, sound, 2, light, 3, electricity, and 4, the higher emanations up to cosmic rays. So also in the spiritual realm there are four great powers of the soul: mind, love, life, and spirit. With our first modern awakening about 100 years ago, we mistakenly thought all these soul powers were nothing more than mind powers. That was and still is as great a mistake as assuming that light and electricity are nothing more than mere sound. But since sound vibration is so slow it travels only 1,160 feet a second, and light so rapid that its vibrations travel almost 186,000 miles per second, it is evident that they are different. So also mind differs from love. Love differs from life. Life differs from spirit. Moreover, each one, according to the most basic law of God, produces only after its own kind. In all practical things, we are not so silly that we attempt to substitute one power for another. When you enter your room at night, you do not try to light the room by switching on your radio. Moreover, you are not at all satisfied with the results if you press the button to turn on the electric light and it produces great crashes of sound. So also in all personal, material, and spiritual attainments, you will fail whenever you try to substitute one soul power for another, and you will reach illumined heights of which you could not have yet dreamed as soon as you attain the greater wisdom which knows that, although all powers of the soul come from the one great source, they are so different in manifestation that each produces only after its own kind. In some of our efforts as well as our teaching, we have been rather stupid. in insisting on holding the first great illumination that came to mind's consciousness, that is, the power of mind, and then refusing to advance to higher illumination. For this reason, many of you have failed to attain even 1,000th of a part of what you might have attained if you had gone on from one illumination to another unto the fuller infinite wisdom. Perhaps I can make this clear for you by referring to the steps of our advancing knowledge of the food. Our first scientific knowledge of foods began about 100 years ago, with a better understanding of the value of our crude foods, sugars, starch, protein, and fat. Later we discovered much more important food factors, the minerals. Still later we discovered vitamins, and now we have discovered foods of almost limitless energy and mysterious powers, the catalytic foods, such as the cholesterols, chlorophyll, lecithin, and oxidants. Yet many years after the recognition of food factors of the first group, sugars, starches, proteins, and fat, some food scientists were still fixed in the belief that the one great advance in knowledge of foods was the all-important knowledge, so that they absolutely refused to recognize even the possibility of the presence of such factors as vitamins. So also some leaders in this new spiritual awakening of the last century have been just as fixed in refusing to advance. They experienced such great illumination, becoming conscious of the power of mind, that they held to that one ideal only, and some of them still do. Nevertheless, it is as ridiculous to assume that love and life and spirit are mind, as it is to assume that the minerals in food are nothing but sugars, or that the vitamins are nothing more than starches. Another great new truth that we learned in the science of food, in addition to the fact that each group of food factors do differ from those of every other group, is that each should be used according to its own nature to produce a definite result after its own kind. Food scientists today are not so stupid as to think that when you need vitamin A, you can substitute starch, and that when you need lecithin and oxidants, you can substitute sugar. Just as some of the early food scientists at first refused to recognize the newly discovered knowledge of vitamin foods, so also many teachers of truth have refused to recognize anything more than the first great illumination of this particular century, and many still insist on assuming that all the powers of the soul are mind powers. But the higher illuminators recognize that there are four soul powers: mind power, love power, life power, and spirit power, and that each should be used according to its own nature to produce results after its own kind. That is the reason why in these later years I have given so much time trying to make clear to others the higher wisdom of the infinite, the wisdom that knows that powers differ, and that each should be used to produce results after its own kind. Often man blindly overlooks the value of truth that are so clearly revealed that they have stared him in the face for tens of centuries. Many people have spent much time trying to interpret the story of creation as given in the Bible. They write of the 7 days of creation of Adam and Eve and of the tree of good and evil. And they forget that the most important truth in that account of creation is the basic spiritual law, that each thing in power is created to produce after its own kind. The story of creation is even interpreted 3 times to re-emphasize the truth so that man will recognize that it is what the infinite is trying to tell you in the story of creation. Since each power produces after its own kind, holding a thought of love produces only thoughts of love, and holding a thought of life produces after its own kind, and hence produces only thoughts about the life you desire. One of the saddest things in the lives of thousands who have come to me for help is the fact that they have earnestly and prayerfully used thought alone, hoping to attain spiritual illumination, and then fail to reach the height of real illumination and intimate communion with all infinite powers. Many such souls have consecrately used the powers of mind meditation, mind power, concentration, and idealization, and yet they are still lacking that inspiring power of spirit which annuls fatigue and keeps the body overflowing with energy every hour of the day and night, giving man the power to live even as angels live. Our present awakening to the unknown powers, not only of the universe, but also of the soul, is making it possible for man to free himself from these disappointing efforts and quickly to attain the spiritual responsiveness of the body which opens away easily, as lilies grow, to infinitely expanding love, to rejuvenating life, and to inspiring and inspired spirit, which lifts one up nearer unto Godhead itself. The key to all true growth is to make the body so responsive to spirit that spirit can manifest it through it easily and freely. With the newer understanding that each soul power produces only after its own kind, and that each newly revealed power of the soul is greater than its past known power, and that they reach their climax in the power of spiritual desire, we can understand Jesus' teaching of the use of the desiring power of the soul, which lies deep down beneath all thought and love in life. Jesus' teaching is definite. First, Jesus does not emphasize the power of the mind. He seems to be so desirous of leading men on to the higher powers that he almost deprecates the powers of mind. He even urges us not to use thought overmuch. Take no anxious thought for the morrow. What can man add to his stature by taking thought? Second, Jesus strongly emphasizes love as the harmonizing power necessary for all attainment. A new commandment I give unto you. Love the Lord thy God with all thy heart. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Love ye another as I have loved you. Third, Jesus teaches life as the way of attainment. I am the way and the life. I am the bread of life. I am come that ye shall have life more abundantly. The word which is translated life in these phrases is significant. There are 4 different Greek words in the New Testament which are translated life, but the one which Jesus uses in these statements means increasing activity. Fourth, Jesus emphasizes that God is Spirit. Spirit is the inspiring and uplifting power of the soul. In power alone, my mind is like unto the crawl of a snail, compared to spirit, which is like unto the flight of the eagle. Hence Jesus' teaching, take no thought of the morrow. God is spirit, worship spirit in spirit. Then lastly, for your highest attainment, Jesus teaches that desire of the spirit is the means of attainment. Jesus never states that you shall receive whatever you hold in thought. His teaching is this, what things soever ye desire, ye shall have. In this one statement, we have the beginning and the end of his teaching of the manifestation of all you want. Desire is the beginning of what the soul wants. Possession, that is, ye shall have, is the end desired. Jesus even elaborated the method of using desire. If 2 of you shall agree on earth as touching anything they shall ask or desire, it shall be done for them. The Greek word which is translated ask in this verse is aiteo, A-I-T-E-O, and it means to desire with all the hungering longing of the soul. In Mark 15:43, it is even translated crave. And lastly, Jesus teaches the use of these powers by activation. He teaches us to seek first the kingdom of God, heaven on earth, here and now within us. The Greek word translated heaven means infinitely expanding activity. Hence, the powers of mind, love, life, and spiritual desire must be turned into action to attain what you want. This is more than ordinary action. It is the awakening of the power of heaven within you, the infinite expansion of the powers within you. This is practical. Each thing and each power produces after its own kind. Thinking produces thought. Visualization produces visions. Affirming produces affirmations. Loving produces love. Spiritual longing produces divine desire, and such desire expands man's longing into activity, and action produces the actuality man wants. Since each power produces after its own kind, a thought of love will often fail to win the love your heart desires, and thoughts of abundance will not of themselves bring you actual abundance. Each power produces after its own kind, so of course, thoughts of abundance will produce more and more thoughts of abundance. Use the unknown soul powers which Jesus teaches you to use, and all things shall be added unto you. Use mind to idealize what you want. Use visualization to create the idealism of what you desire. Use thought as a guide to direct your powers. But do not make the mistake of trying to substitute the slower power of mind for the higher power of love and life and spiritual desire. Mind is the headlight, and thought is the steering wheel of your soul. It looks ahead, visions, and illumines your path and guides you on the way. But mind is not the motive power of the soul, and the steering wheel is not the engine of the soul which makes it move outward to actuality. Use love as the harmonizing power of the soul, for only love can harmonize all the cells of the body so that it will possess perfect health. Only love will harmonize man with man, so that he will live and work agreeably and hence profitably with others to attain overflowing abundance. Only love will so harmonize man's life that he shall live in happiness and joy. Try no substitutes. A thought of love is no more than the thought of a dress as an actual dress. Love to produce more love. Use life as the unifying power of your soul to unite all powers and to push them out into manifestation. Use spirit as the inspiring power of the soul, forever inspiring power into you to sustain both soul and body. Use spirit to annul fatigue and amazingly increase the energy of mind, love, and life. Then use the desire of spirit, for it is the motive power of the soul which impels all other powers into action. What things soever you desire, you shall have. Mind is more powerful than brawn. Love is more powerful than mind. Life is more powerful than love. And spirit is 1,000-fold, yea, desire of spirit is 1,000,000 times more powerful than all other soul powers. Spiritual desire is the alpha and omega in the use of soul power. It rises from underneath thought to the very zenith of spiritual power. It is these powers taught by Jesus and so little recognized through the centuries that I am trying to lead you to awaken and use today, so that you shall no longer merely pray for and affirm what you want and often fail to attain it. Please, stop thinking so much. It slows down and hinders expression of spirit. Every worry in the world is caused by some thought about your emotions. Every anxiety in the world is caused by some thought about conditions of people. Every fear in the world is caused by some thought of what others may do, or how conditions may affect you, or what you should do or should not do, or what you think you can do or cannot do. Why struggle so when miracles are wrought by the higher powers of the soul? Just as the unknown powers of soul work miracles, awaken ants to tremendous activity without increased fatigue, just as the unknown powers of radiant rays work miracles in changing life forms, and produces astoundingly rapid plant growth, as great a miracle as that of the loaves and fishes, and just as the unknown powers of electricity transform and rejuvenate instead of destroying, so the unknown powers of love and life can work miracles for you. And just as the unknown powers of cosmic rays can reach the distant parts of the universe billions of miles away, and also at the same time penetrate all substance here on earth, so also there are unknown powers of spirit, which can illuminate your path here this moment, and also at the same time reach out in consciousness 10,000 years to the future and 10,000 years to the past. Use the higher unknown powers of love to expand in your soul like a sphere of energy, until it unfolds the thousands of souls who long to love you, so that your happiness shall be multiplied beyond the limit even of your dream. Use the unknown powers of life to attain the greater responsiveness of body, so that life will flow through your body so freely that its cells will be impelled to unite to form new cells, new tissues, new structures of new youthfulness. And use the unknown powers of spirit to uplift consciousness in you into infinite heights, so that you shall commune and be as one with spiritual powers of earth and of stars and of all the universe of heaven. Seek ye first the inner kingdom of these unknown powers of your soul, and they shall work miracles for you, and all other things of earth and heaven be added unto you. End of book.